Sometimes the bravest thing a man can do is open his heart one more time, even after it's been shattered beyond repair. In the winter of 1874, a frightened little girl stands outside the marshal's office in a forgotten mining town, about to be claimed by a stranger with papers that don't sit right. Her small arms show fresh bruises. Then a voice roars from the street, "Stop! I'll take that little girl." It's Thomes, a mountain man who hasn't come down from his cabin in 12 years, not since his own daughter vanished. Nobody argues with him, but when the child throws her arms around his neck and calls him Papa, everyone freezes. How does she know him? Before we continue, tell us where you're watching from, and if this story touches you, subscribe. Tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. The crowd on Main Street parted like water around Stone as Thomes stood there, the little girl clutching his worn leather coat. He was a massive man, broad through the shoulders, like an oak tree, with hair the color of winter wheat that fell past his shoulders, and a beard that reached his chest. Both had gone more silver than gold over the years. His eyes, pale blue like mountain ice, had seen things most men wouldn't survive. Those eyes now rested on the child in his arms, and something in them softened in a way the townspeople of Copper Falls hadn't witnessed in 12 long years. Marshal Jacob Stone was the first to find his voice. "Thomes, that's quite a claim you're making." "Wasn't asking permission, Jacob." Thomas's voice carried the rough edges of a man who'd spent years talking only to the wind and the wolves. The stranger, holding the papers, a well-dressed man with cold eyes, stepped forward. "I have legal documentation. Your papers are worth less than the ink they're printed on." Marshal Stone interrupted. "The signatures don't match territorial records, so why don't you tell me who you really are, Mr. Crane?" "Bring her to my office," said Dr. Helena Wright, pushing through the crowd. "That child needs examining." Thomes nodded and followed the doctor, the girl still wrapped around him. Behind them, Stone was already questioning Crane, whose confidence had begun to crack. "But here's what troubles me most. How did this little girl know Thomes? How did she recognize a man who'd been living like a ghost in the mountains for over a decade?" In the clinic, Dr. Wright gestured to the examination table. The girl looked up at Thomes with eyes that held far too much knowledge for someone so young. Slowly, she released her grip. Dr. Wright worked with practiced efficiency, her expression growing grimmer. When she was done, she pulled Thomes aside. "She's malnourished, systematically starved. These bruises, some are fresh, but there are older ones. Scars on her back. Someone's been hurting this child for quite some time. She got a name?" "Lily," the girl whispered from the table. "Well, Lily, you're safe now," Dr. Wright said gently. The girl's eyes found Thomas's again. "You're the mountain man, the one who carves animals from wood, the one with the golden hair." Thomas felt something cold settle in his chest. "How do you know that?" "Emma told me. She said if I ever got away, I should find you. She said you'd keep me safe. She said to tell you she's still alive. She said to tell you she remembers everything." Dr. Wright looked at Thomas sharply. Everyone in Copper Falls knew the story. 12 years ago, Thomas had been a respected trapper and trader. Then one spring, his 7-year-old daughter Emma had vanished without a trace. His wife Catherine had died a year later. After that, Thomas had disappeared into the mountains. "Emma," Thomas repeated, his voice barely above a whisper. "Where is she?" But Lily's eyes had grown heavy, exhaustion finally claiming her. Within moments, she was asleep. Dr. Wright covered the child. "That child knows things she shouldn't. I know." Thomas stared out the window. Snow was beginning to fall. 3 other children have gone missing from settlements east of here in the past year, Dr. Wright said. "The territorial marshal sent word asking us to watch for anything unusual. You think they're connected? I think someone is taking children." Through the window, they could see Stone leading Crane toward the jail. "She called me Papa," Thomas said suddenly, "and I don't even know her. Maybe she knows you, though. If Emma told her about you, if your daughter is still alive somewhere, don't give me that hope. Not after 12 years. But the hope was already there, a small flame in the darkness. Yet here was this child who knew things only Emma could have told her. The door opened, and Marshal Stone entered. "Crane's been asking questions about you for 3 weeks. Wanted to know about your trapping routes, if anyone knew where your cabin was. Why? That's what I aim to find out." Stone looked toward where Lily slept. "That child's got information we need. She's not going back with Crane. Won't be necessary. I'm holding him for fraud and child endangerment." Stone leaned forward. "But Thomes, Are you prepared for what might come next? If Emma is alive, finding her won't be simple. I've been dead inside for 12 years, Jacob. If there's a chance my daughter's alive, then danger doesn't enter into it. Somewhere beyond the town, there were answers, and Thomes knew he would pursue them to the very end of the earth. Sarah Brennan ran the boarding house on 2nd Street. When Thomes appeared with the small girl, she asked no questions. She simply opened the door wider. Thomes set Lily down gently on the bed. You really came, she said softly. Emma said you would. Tell me about Emma, please. Lily's hands twisted the blanket. She takes care of me in the cold house. That's what we call it, the place where they keep us. It's always cold. There were other children? Lots of children. They bring new ones sometimes, and the older ones disappear. Emma says they're being sent to their new homes, but her voice sounds sad. What else did she tell you? She said you had a cabin with a stone fireplace, that there was a bearskin rug, that from the front window you could see Eagle's Nest Peak turning gold. She said there was a place under the floorboards where you kept special things. No one knew about that hiding spot. He'd shown it to Emma once, years ago. How old was Emma? Old like you, but with prettier hair. She said she'd been in the cold house since she was 7. That meant she'd be 19 now. Lily reached into her dress and pulled out something that made Thomas's heart stop. A small wooden eagle, carved with meticulous detail. The workmanship was unmistakably his own, but he'd never made this piece. Emma carved this. She said you taught her. She said carving helped her remember who she was. Thomas took the carving with trembling hands. Carved into the base were initials, E.T. Emma Thomes. She said to tell you she remembers everything. The songs her mama used to sing. The way you taught her to track deer. She said she's held on to every memory because memories were all she had left. Sarah arrived with stew. She saw the tears tracking through Thomas's beard. The first tears he'd shed in 12 years. Where is this cold house? I don't know exactly. It took me a long time to get here after I escaped. It was a big building outside a city. Denver, I think. Denver. 5 days hard ride from Copper Falls. How did you escape? Emma helped me. She gave money to one of the guards. He let me out through the coal chute. Emma said she couldn't come. She said she had to stay for the other children. Did you ever see who was in charge? A man, tall, with white hair. The guards called him Mr. Dalton. He came down to look at us. He'd walk up and down, studying each child like we were horses at auction. Emma said he was a bad man. Dalton. The name rattled something in Thomas's memory. Marcus Dalton. They'd had dealings once. Dalton had wanted to buy Thomas's land. Thomas had refused. Dalton had left angry, muttering threats. What if Dalton had taken Emma for revenge? Lily. Did Emma ever mention why they took her? Once, I heard Mr. Dalton talking to Emma. He said she was payment for a debt her father owed. He said you'd taken something from him, so he'd taken something from you. A knock at the door. Marshal Stone entered. Crane finally opened up. Says he was hired to bring the girl here. Specifically to you. Says his employer wanted the child placed with you. Why? All Crane would say is that his employer has a cruel sense of humor. Stone pulled out a paper. He had this. Property tax receipt for an estate outside Denver. The name is Marcus Dalton. He wanted me to know, Thomas said slowly. Dalton sent Lily here deliberately to make sure I learned the truth. But why reveal it now? Lily looked up. Because Emma was going to disappear soon, to the final house. And Mr. Dalton wanted her father to know. He wanted you to know what he'd taken. Right before he took her somewhere you'd never find her. When? Soon. That's why Emma sent me away. Stone and Thomas locked eyes. If Emma was still alive, they had only a small window of time. I'll deputize a few men, Stone said. I'm going whether you come or not. I know. That's why I'm coming. Stone paused. Crane said there have been other children. He said Dalton's been doing this for years, taking children, selling them. His daughter hadn't just been held captive. She'd been living in a place where children were sold like livestock. After Stone left, Thomas sat with Lily until she fell asleep. Tomorrow, they would ride for Denver. Tomorrow they would storm whatever fortress Marcus Dalton had built. And when they found Emma, not if, but when, Thomas would finally bring his daughter home. Outside, the snow continued to fall, but in one small room, a promise was being made. A father was finding his way back from the dead, called forth by a little girl who knew how to carve eagles from wood, and by a daughter who'd never stopped hoping her papa would come. Dawn broke cold and clear. Thomas rode up the mountain to his cabin. He pushed open the door and stopped. Small footprints marked the dusty floor, child-sized prints leading to his workbench. Someone had been here recently. Thomas followed the tracks to where the floorboards were different, his hiding spot. With trembling hands, He pried up the loose board. The wooden eagle he'd carved as a boy was still there, but next to it lay a piece of paper, folded carefully. Thomes unfolded it. The handwriting belonged to Emma. Papa, if you're reading this, then Lily found you. I pray she's safe. The man who took me is Marcus Dalton. He's kept me all these years because of what happened between you. He said you refused to sell him something, and he would take what you loved most. I've tried to escape so many times, but he always found me, so I stayed. I stayed because there were other children who needed protection. But now they're moving me, taking me somewhere far away. So I sent Lily to you. Keep her safe. Love her the way you loved me. And if you can, come for the others. They're still in that house in Denver, still suffering. I've held on to every memory of you. They couldn't take those from me. I'm still your daughter. I will always be your daughter. You're Emma. The paper shook in Thomas's hands. He read it 3 times. Then he placed it inside his coat, close to his heart. He found Catherine's journal in the old trunk. He turned to the entries from before Emma disappeared. March 12th, 1862. A man came today, said his name was Dalton, made an offer to buy our land. When Thoms refused, I saw something ugly flash in his eyes. He took an unusual interest in Emma. April 18th, 1862. Dalton left for Denver, but before he went, he argued with Thoms. Dalton left angry, shouting something about taking what's owed. 3 weeks later, May 9th, 1862. They took her. God help us. Someone took our Emma. Dalton had been planning it even then, but he'd made one mistake. He'd underestimated what a father's love could endure. Thoms took the wooden eagle Emma had carved and tucked it into his saddlebag. Then he rode back toward Copper Falls. They would leave for Denver by nightfall. The hunt had begun. By the time Thoms returned, Marshal Stone had assembled a group. Dr. Wright stood ready with her medical bag. 2 deputies were checking their weapons, and Sarah Brennan had loaded her wagon with supplies. Lily stood wrapped in a warm coat. I'm coming too. Lily, it's too dangerous. I know the house. I know the guards' schedules. You need me, and I need to go back for Emma. Thoms knelt down. From his coat, he withdrew a brass compass. My papa gave me this, so I'd always find my way home. Now, I'm giving it to you. You're part of this family now, Lily. Lily took the compass, then threw her arms around his neck. Thank you, Papa. All right, but you stay close to Sarah and Dr. Wright. Understood? She nodded. They rode out as the sun climbed toward noon. On the second night, they made camp. Lily sat close to the fire and began to talk. The house is 3 stories. The main floors look normal, but the basement is divided into rooms, each holding 4 or 5 children. What do they do with the children? Dr. Wright asked. They teach us reading, writing, mathematics. They say it makes us more valuable. The ones who learn well, those are the ones who disappear. They call it going to a new home. But Emma said it was being sold. How many children? 16. Last I knew. My parents died in a fire, and a man said he'd take me to an orphanage. Instead, he brought me to the cold house. She looked at Thoms. Emma said most children there have no one looking for them, but she knew you'd care. Tell us about the guards, Stone said. 4 guards. They change shifts at midnight and noon. They're not expecting trouble. Mr. Dalton pays the local law well. And Dalton himself? He comes 3 or 4 times a week. Sometimes he brings visitors, rich people. They pretend it's charity, but Emma said they're really buyers. This wasn't just revenge. This was a business. They sat around the fire long into the night. Lily curled up against Thoms, the compass clutched in her hand. Emma said you'd come. She said you always kept your promises. I'm coming, Thoms promised, and I'm bringing her home. Above them, stars wheeled across the winter sky. Around the fire, a family was being forged from broken pieces, united by love and the certainty that some evils must be stopped.